Hello everyone, Kotongwane the Nated God here. This is the beginning of a series where we'll be looking at problems based on epicyclic gear system problems, right? Or different types of epicyclic gear system problems, right? To start things off, let's take a look at this basic epicyclic gear system problem, and it reads as follows. Wheels A, B, C, and D have 30, 25, 20, and 15 teeth respectively. Determine the revolutions made by wheels A, B, and C while the arm rotates in a clockwise direction 6.5 times about the center of the fixed wheel D, right? Now, first thing you always do when looking at an epicyclic gear problem is by drawing this table, right? Right. Now, what I like to do is name or give each gear and arm a column, right? So starting with the arm and the gear we choose, or the gear that is the analyst gear, right? Remember, in epicyclic gear systems, the first and second conditions, right, they do not change, right? The first condition being what? You fix the arm in this case is arm L, so you fix the arm L and rotate the annulus, right, by 1 revolution in the clockwise direction, right? Now, this is not your typical epicyclic gear system, right? So with this one, you choose the gear that is the biggest as your annulus, right? So the biggest gear here out of these 4 gears is gear A, right? So we're gonna choose gear A as our annulus. So we're gonna rotate gear A by 1 revolution in the clockwise direction, right? So let's see the other gears. You also have gear B, then you have gear C, and you have gear D, right? Now what I like to do is I also like to write the number of teeth, right on top of each column, right? So meaning for column gear A has 30 teeth, so I write 30 teeth here. Gear B has 25 teeth, gear C has 20 teeth, gear D has 15 teeth, right? Now, we need to get the ratios of each gear, right? We already have the gear ratio for the analyst gear, right? The first condition tells us that condition A tells us that the annulus, which is in this case gear A, is being rotated by 1 revolution in the clockwise direction, right? So as far as the gear ratio for gear A, it will be what? Simply +1, right? So for the other gears, right, what we do is the annulus gear we take as our output, right? So we take it as our output gear for all the gears, right? What do we mean by that? So for the gear ratios for gear B, C, and D, we're going to take the annulus gear as our output gear, meaning what? Remember, as far as the gear ratio is equal to N in over N out, right? That's if you're using the rotational frequency. If you're using number of teeth, it's T out over T in. This is equal to the gear ratio, right? Now, like I said, the annulus we treat as our output gear, right? Meaning what? Meaning, for instance, for gear B, right? Since we are treating the annulus gear as the output gear, that means gear B in this case will be what? would be our input gear, right? Now, gear B being the input, so we'll have gear B here, and then we'll have the analyst gear, which we treat as our what? As our output gear, right? Meaning, as far as in terms of number of teeth, right, this is going to be TA, and that's going to be TB, right? Now, because we have the number of teeth, we are going to use the number of teeth to represent our gear ratio for gear B, right? So this will be TA over TB, right? Now, another thing to consider, right, it's direction, right? So if gear A is going clockwise, it means gear B, which is meshing with gear A, is going in the opposite direction. So meaning gear B is going in the anti-clockwise direction. So this will be negative. Right, so this is equal to 30 over what? Minus 25, which is equal to what? Now if you punch that in your calculators, you're going to get minus 1,2, right? Now we do the same thing for gears C and D, right? So we're going to treat gear C as the input because we are treating gear A as the output, right? So the results would basically be the same. You'll have TA, which is the analyst, over TC, right? Now, in terms of direction, C is meshing with what? With B. And we know B is going anti-clockwise, meaning gear C will be going clockwise. So it remains positive. So this will be equal to what? 30 over 20. Now, if you punch that in your calculators, you're going to get 1,5, right? And then for gear D, still have TA over TD, right? And the direction, C is going clockwise, meaning D is going anti-clockwise. So this will be negative. So you have 30 over minus 15. It's 30 over minus 15 is minus 2, right? So that's the first condition complete, right? Now, second condition, you multiply the first condition by x, right? So you multiply the first condition by x and then add y. So meaning what? For instance, if you look at arm L, right? First condition for arm L is 0. So you multiply 0 by x and then you add y. X times 0 is 0. Then when you add y, you get y, right? Then we do the same thing for the other gears. So for gear A, x times 1 is x, then you add y, right? Then x times minus 1,2 is minus 1,2x, then you add y, right? Do the same thing for gear C. So this will be 1,5x plus y, and this will be minus 2x plus y, right? Now, our third condition, right? So first of all, the first and second condition, they do not change, right? For the first condition, you fix the arm, whatever the arm is, you fix the arm and you rotate the analyst by 1 revolution in the clockwise direction, right? Then as far as the second condition, you multiply the first condition by x and then you add y, right? Those conditions will never change. Now, conditions that come after that depend on what the question is looking for, right? So if you go back to our statement, whatever information that's in our statement, we take as the third condition, right? So if we read what the question is looking for, they say determine the revolutions made by wheels A, B, C, right? So we're looking for the rotational frequencies of gears A, B, C while the arm rotates in a clockwise direction 6,5 times about the center of the fixed wheel D, right? So the arm is rotating in the clockwise direction 6.5 times, right? And then wheel D is fixed. So first let's write that. So wheel D, so the rotational frequency of gear D is equal to what? 0. Why that fixed? I mean that gear, they said it's fixed. And then the arm L, so let's say NL, right? So NL is equal to what? Positive 6. So they said clockwise direction, so positive 6.5, right? Positive 6.5, yes. And then we are looking for the rotational frequencies of gears A, B, C. So we're looking for NA, we are looking for NB, and we are looking for NC. Right, those are the rotational frequencies of gears A, B, C. Right, now let's write our third condition on each column. Right, as far as the arm, we know the arm is rotating clockwise 6.5 times about D. Right, do we have anything on gear A? We are looking for the rotational frequency of gear A. We are also looking for the rotational frequency of gear B, and we are looking for the rotational frequency of gear C, right? And they said gear D is fixed. So this, or let's just say this is equal to 0, right? Right. Now, in order for us to be able to get the rotational frequencies of gears A, B, and C, we need the values of X and Y, right? So this representing gear A, let's make this green. This representing gear B, let's make this one blue, right? And this representing gear C, let's make this one red. Or is it orange? Whatever. Right? Now, in order for us to get the rotational frequencies of gears A, B, and C, we need the values of X and Y. So first, let's calculate X and Y. Now, if you look here, we have our third condition. So what happens next here is we equate conditions 2 with 3, right? So you equate condition 2 and 3. For instance, under the arm L, when equating condition 2 and 3, we know that Y is equal to 6.5, right? So Y is equal to 6.5. Take that as your equation 1, right? Then our equation 2, we're going to use gear D, right? So second condition for gear D is what? Minus 2x plus y is equal to 0. Take that as your condition 2, right? So we already have the value of y. Y is equal to 6.5, right? So we solve for x. So we sub equation 1 into 2. So minus 2x. Then you sub y into this, which is positive 6.5. So 6.5 is equal to 0, right? So now we transpose 2x. So 2x becomes positive, and this is equal to 6.5, right? So you divide both sides by 2. So x, now if you punch this in your calculators, you're going to get 3.25, right? So now we have the values of both x and y, so we can get the rotational frequencies of all the gears, right? So first we look at NA, so the rotational frequency of A, right? How do we do that? Again, you equate conditions 2 and 3, right? So for gear A, we know NA is equal to x plus y. So this is x plus y, right? So NA is equal to what? X is 3.25 plus y was equal to what? 6.5. And if you punch this in your calculators, you're going to get 9,75 revs per minute. And because this is positive, it means gear A is going clockwise, right? So that's the rotational frequency of A, or gear A. For gear B, right? So again, you equate conditions 2 and 3 under gear B, right? Gear B is equal to what? Minus 1,2x plus y, right? So NB is equal to minus 1,2, x is equal to what? 3,25, and y is equal to 6,5. And if you punch this in your calculators, you're going to get 2,6 so revs per minute, right? Because this is positive, it means gear B is going clockwise, right? Now we look at the rotational frequency for gear C by doing what? Again, equating conditions 2 and 3 under gear C, right? So NC is equal to what? 1,5x plus y. Let's just confirm that. So NC is equal to 1,5x plus y. So we are correct. So this is equal to 1,5 into x, which is 3,25, plus y, which is 6,5. If you punch this in your calculators, you're going to get 11,375 revs per minute. Because it's positive, it means this is going clockwise, right? Now, they just wanted us to calculate NA, NB, and C. So we have calculated all our rotational frequencies, right? That's how you solve a very basic epicyclic gear system, right? Stay tuned for more problems based on epicyclic gears. Goodbye.